Sorry.
Yes, Madam President.
I was going to start with the NAPD so we can spend a little bit more time on ELDT, but Al, I believe, is in another meeting. He's not in here yet, Claudine, is he?
No,
He's calling me right now. You had to mute me. Hey. It's me. I was calling to see if you were logging on because I was going to start.
Well, hello, Donna Boyce.
Hi, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Nice
Thank
to
you guys
see
for
you.
inviting me.
So Mark and Nicole, I thought you'd be driving today.
no, I didn't go up to Albany today.
Okay. So when Belinda gets off, maybe I'll see if we can just start with you guys doing a quick introduction. And if you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. We're good. We're good. Okay. So Mark and Nicole, if you guys would like to do a quick introduction and do your part, you're welcome to log off after that, or you could stay on and join us for our whole meeting.
Appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. I'd like to hang around if that's all right. I'd like to stay for the whole meeting if you guys would allow me.
Okay, great.
All right, great. It's definitely good to see some faces that I've seen up in Albany before, and some new faces. So just wanted to start again by thanking the Capitol chapter for giving us a couple minutes to just introduce ourselves and just talk a little about what we're doing. So just a little about myself. My transportation journey, so to speak, began in 2010 as a school bus driver for the Wantaw School District in Nassau County. It was at that time that I knew I wanted to get more involved in the transportation industry. So I took the civil service exam for assistant supervisor of transportation. In 2016, I accepted that position in the Farmingdale School District and learned from one of the greatest transportation professionals of all time, the late, great Joe Williams, who was inducted into the NIAP Hall of Fame in 2020. After Joe's passing in 2018, I was promoted to the supervisor of transportation in Farmingdale, and I currently hold that title in the Herrick School District in Nassau County. So once I arrived in Farmingdale, Joe did offer me the opportunity to get immediately involved with NIAP, both on the local and state level. On the local level, I held the positions of director, president-elect, and I'm the current president of the Nassau County chapter. And I also simultaneously served on the state level as Joe's alternate director, and I'm the current state director for Nassau County. For the Nassau County chapter, I also chaired the Pupil Safety Committee and co-chaired the Legislative Committee. And I was in charge and ran a successful National NIAP School Bus Safety Festival back in 2017. Currently, right now, I serve on the state level of NIAP's legislative, professional development, and membership committees. Some of you that have been going up to the winter workshop for a few years might remember in 2018, I did a presentation on active shooter on a school bus, just to kind of bring to light, that possibility. Again, seeing more opportunity for growth, I became an SBDI in 2019. I completed the NIAP Leadership Development Program and became a NIAP Certified Director of Transportation. NIAP, to me, it's meant so much to me professionally and personally. The growth that I've experienced since becoming a member, I can't measure. The relationships, connections that I've made, throughout the state, being a member of this great association has been so vital to me in my development in the transportation profession. NIAP's given me so much that I feel compelled to give back to it. For myself and for the transportation professionals that sustain this association through their hard work and dedication over the years. I'm also a volunteer firefighter for the Wantaw Fire Department. Being a firefighter has taught me many things. A few of them are sacrifice, selflessness, teamwork, adaptability, decision-making, calmness under pressure, coachability, open-mindedness. These attributes have helped me tremendously in my transportation career, service to my community and the students that we transport. It really encompasses everything that I'm about. What I would like everyone to know on this call here is I share that same passion for the school bus transportation industry that everyone on this call has. I know I'm at that point right now in my transportation career where leadership skills, passion, and heart lead me to this next important step in my career. So, with that being said, with the support of my local and state colleagues, I'm confident I'm the right person for the job. So, what I wanted to do is basically humbly ask for your support and for your vote for the office of President-elect of NIAP in the coming election. So that's it. That's my spiel. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes to just hear me out. It's definitely much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you introducing yourself to our team and asking for your support and asking for our support. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Jerry.
Nicole?
Hi, good morning. Wow, like Mark, am also running for executive office for the state association. I'm actually just going to run for a secretary. I just want to get more involved and help out. The reason that's led me to run for this position is, some of this, obviously the similar passion for the school bus industry, but just the connections I've made with NIAP, the leadership program, and, the professional development that's been offered. Teaching for me is my passion, and so I'd like to be able to give back. Just a transportation background for me, I became a bus attendant in 2007, driver 2008, supervisor the year after. I worked for a contracted company for about 10 years for a student in Syracuse, New York. So I'm originally from upstate. We had Pat Bailey as our transportation director in Syracuse, and she really pushed me. Also, one of the great directors of past. She pushed me to, just learn a lot. And, I've made so many connections over the last, 15 years, and I've had a great time with NIAP, just meeting people, participating in rodeos, conferences, things like that. I'm currently the supervisor of transportation in Eastchester, which is in Westchester County. So downstate, I'm actually about 7 minutes away from the Bronx here. And let's see, I sit on the SBDI and my advisory committee. I've been the chair of Operation Safe Stop for NIAP since 2019. I am on the professional development committee. I'm the state director for my local association, Lower Hudson. I'm the vice president of my local chapter. And I'm a master instructor. Like I said, I just, NIAP's done a lot for me professionally, networking, and I just would love to give back. So that's really where I'm getting ready to try to jump in and help out a little bit more. And so thank you for your time. Thank you guys for your time and allowing me on the call. And again, I'm running for secretary. So I would also like to stay on your meeting and, see what else the chapter has going on, if that's okay.
So I didn't know if you missed it or if I missed it, but she's also the chairperson for Operation Safe Stop.
Yes.
For the state, and I sit on her committee with her. So she's also doing a lot of work on that for Operation Safe Stop, which is coming up next month.
Yes. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. All right, Belinda, back to you.
Thank you. Is it the only two, Jerry, that were running that we invited today?
Sorry, I went back on mute. Yes, those were the only two from the state. And as you all know, elections will be later this year.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both for coming, and we're happy to have you stay on our meeting. We've got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to start with Al Karam and the NAPD. Some of us who are new supervisors are not that familiar with the NAPD, and we've noticed that about 13 of our districts in our chapter are due this year. So we thought it would be a good idea to put a little something together from somebody who has a lot of experience dealing with that non-allowable pupil decimal. So Al Karam, you should have sharing rights. Thank you.
Presentation. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, we can, Al.
Okay. Yep, there are approximately 15 school districts in our chapter area of operation who are required to submit an NAPD this year. Most likely, if you're one of those transportation supervisors whose district is on the list, you should already been notified by your business office to produce the report. Districts are allowed to either compile the needed data for this report either manually or to use your routing software to create the report and then produce the NAPD. You must use one day in either the month of March, April, or May. For me, I prefer to use data from the routing software. If you are a Versatrans Styler technology user, Versatrans finally updated their New York report for the NAPD, which now calculates the NAPD for you. Before, they would only give you the aggregates, but now it actually gives you the NAPD. Unfortunately, it gives you a 16 place decimal, and you only need 4. So you should be able to right click on it and change that number from 16 down to 4 decimal point, because that's what the NAPD needs to be. There's a couple other things you also need to do to kind of make a report a little bit more presentable than what the computer prints out for you. So for those of you who are new, this is what's required to submit the report. One, it's been 3 years, and for the 15 districts that I just talked about, it's been 3 years. That's why we have to do it again. We are one of them. Or the district has revised its mileage or other policy regarding pupils eligible for transportation services, or the school district reorganized with one or more other districts, or an opening of a new school within your district, or a closure of a current school building, or your district made a calculation error for the prior year non-allowable pupil decimal report, or transportation of children in established safety zones that you've created that, or a change in the district transportation policy to provide transportation eligible children to or from pre-kindergarten program pursuant to section 3602E of the education law. So most of us are due because of the 3 years. Now, for me, I do the report every year, and for a couple of things, a couple of reasons. One, I want to keep my skills honed on this particular report, because if you don't do it, you forget, how the heck did I do it last time? Where did I get this? Blah, 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 whatever the case might be. So I do it every year. I got on my data spreadsheet that I have like a ton of data that I capture from year to year. I have one for the NAPD itself, and also capture important notes. If there's a huge fluctuation in the NAPD, that's something you don't want to happen, but if there is, SAD is going to ask you about it. You need to have answers when you're asked about that as to why. So one question I always get is, how high or low the decimal should be? Well, it's got to be low. The lower, the more money you're going to get on the transportation side. Major routing changes can affect the NAPD. You got to capture the reason why NAPD fluctuated widely, because you'll be asked that, right? So examples of why it may change: a new school added, or an old one was shut down, huge drop, or a huge increase in enrollment. And that can happen over a 3-year period. District policy changed again, if your district adopted pre-K or increase or decrease eligibility for transportation purposes. So let me show you some examples, right? SED actually, let me see if this will open up for me here. SED has this worksheet, and I kind of highlighted in yellow and black so you can see a little bit different. And it's got two tabs on the bottom, right? So this worksheet will calculate. So for example, you know, you put the bus number, let's say 100, and I'll do it right quick in front of you. This is an AM trip. The total miles for that is 16 miles, let's say, and allowable pupils, let's say you have 2 and 8 are not, so 10 students. You can see on the right-hand side here, it
Oh, we
calculates.
can't see it.
You can't?
No,
You can't see the spreadsheet at all?
no.
Okay, hang tight. That's probably because the way I'm sharing the screen. Let me share it again. There we go. So I have to switch, obviously, or it looks like. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so on top here, I put 100 AM, 16 for the miles, 2 for allowable pupils, 8 for non. And on the right side, it actually calculated based on the 1.5 multiplier. It calculated 32 pupil miles are allowable and 12 are non. Now, the drawback to using the SED
That's what he said.
spreadsheet is you have to figure out the pupils that are allowable on that route and those who are not allowable. So you'd have to do that manually. So that's a good start for SED to do something like that, but again, you still have to do something manually. What I like about it is, though, on the second tab, the NAPD calculator, if you put your total allowable miles and your total non-allowable miles, it will then calculate for you the NAPD. So it's a good calculator. I've tested it and it actually works. So these are, by the way, my numbers that I just did for this year. All right, let me get out of this, stop sharing right quick, and give me a second here. And I need to go back in the sharing. All right, so this is the NAPD report that we pull out of Versatrans. While it's a powerful report, I particularly don't like it. I don't like the totals by bus. I don't need that for the report, so I usually clean it up. And unfortunately, there's a lot of page breaks. So I clear all that up, and I'm going to show you a cleaned up example. And what this report does for you is at the bottom, it gives you your totals, which is what you need. You can take these totals and plug them into that SED calculator, and you're going to get, so if you look right here, I'm going to highlight it in yellow. That's a 16 decimal point number. That is not what SED wants. So a quick way to fix that, you right click on it, you format the cell, and right here, you want to drop that down to 4 decimal points. And if you notice is 0.0154, just like on the other sheet that SED did, that's what you want. So a great step forward for Tyler Technologies, Versatrans. They finally did this. Disregard this comment here where it says the NAPD is the sum of column H divided by the sum of column G plus H, blah, blah, blah. That is actually off of the instruction paper page that SED puts out. It has nothing to do with the columns on this spreadsheet that you're looking at. Keep that in mind. And let's take a look at, give me a second. We're going to take a look at a clean report and what that looks like. So this is the same Versatrans report that we just looked at, but it's all cleaned up. You can see where you don't see the totals by the bus. It's the totals across for each of the route numbers, which is what you got to show SED. And I got rid of other extraneous columns you don't need there. They always show zeros anyway. And at the bottom, just for my sanity sake, I did the calculation to give me the NAPD that I'm looking for. And it's the same as the SED worksheet, and it's the same as what Versatrans said. And then I submit that report, and on the way we go. Close that out. Close that out. And let me see, I got one more example. We don't want to save that. And just to show you, this is, you don't have to necessarily do it the way I do it. Screen share, where's the cover? This is a cover letter that I do. And as a reminder, again, because this report isn't done every year, it's every 3 years. And, you know, people come and go out of your business office. So this is a cover letter that I do explaining why the report, you know, it's SED regulations, section 156.7. And then I give them the reasons why we got to submit the report and highlight the reason that we're submitting this particular report. And then I tell them at the bottom what date I use for the report and what is our NAPD. And I'll stop sharing and take some questions. Questions? And if you're embarrassed to ask me, don't worry about it. You can call me up, email me, whatever.
I'm not embarrassed to ask you. This is my first year doing it, Al. Do you offer consultation services if I drive up there? My
Absolutely.
laptop?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on up. Bring a pizza with you if it's lunchtime.
I can bring that. I can definitely do that. I'll call you offline.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. If no questions, I'll turn it over.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to email Al or give him a call, if you don't want to ask your question here, or you think it might take too long, or I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them via email. If you need his email information, you can give us a email at the chapter and we can send that all over for you. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to John Fay, who's sitting right next to me. I commandeered his office today. He is our new SBDI 19A head trainer. He handles all of our ELDT stuff here at Shen. It's his main job here. Some of you may know him from past meetings where him and his training team put together our ELD program that we use right now, and we shared that with you all. So we went through our first ELDT progress, soup to nuts with a trainee. So he's going to share that with you. And then we can take questions if anybody else has gone through it and wants to share their experience, what they did. We are happy to hear about that as well. And then we can just take questions and discuss anything anybody else has experienced.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
So basically, it's a tremendous learning experience because none of us has actually had to do it before. I'm sure some of you have found things I haven't found yet that are just catching us off guard. With our first trainee who went through it, we learned a lot about things that the program itself. I should add the program I shared with you back we shared back last fall. At some point in January, I found out that there were other sections that had to be added. So I have added them into our program. If anybody wants those, there are about 26 topics. It gets pretty repetitive, to be quite honest. They deal with some of the same topics over and over again, but you're supposed, if you want to cover every topic that is supposed to be in the program. You can have a slide on each one of them, even though it does get repetitive. Like you have 3 different slides on the pre-trip, one for the Class B, one for the passenger endorsement, and one for the school bus endorsement. And it was the passenger endorsement theory sections and the school bus endorsement theory sections, which I didn't know existed. I didn't know that was part of the theory program. So we had to add those, started working on that in mid-January. So the first, we had a trainee who just got his permit on February 8th, just missed getting it before the deadline. So he became our first ELDT trainee. And he was something of a guinea pig, of course, because we had to learn first how the theory classes were going. We had a presentation, but we'd never presented it. And we weren't too sure how long it would take, how the trainee how much they would absorb. And then there are, initially that we knew there had to be a test. But when you finish doing the theory portion and you go to upload the test, you find out that there's supposed to be 3 tests. So you have to, if you're doing Class B with a passenger endorsement, school bus endorsement, you have to have 3 different tests, 3 different test scores anyway to upload. If it's all one test, you have to have 3 scores. However you come up with those scores, either 3 different tests or 1 test with sections, however you do it. But that was something I was totally unaware of. Everything I read about ELDT, I never saw anything about having separate tests. So that caught me off guard, myself and Al Karam, when we went through the loading up the registry with that information. We were both kind of looking at each other because we had never read anything about separate tests. So if you have 1 test, and I think we shared with you the test we created last fall, you need to either break that into more tests or just add questions to make 2 extra test scores. Okay, so that was one thing we learned. Then we had, as well as adding all those extra sections. There, Al is showing us what it looks like when you upload. You'll have 9 pieces to upload for each trainee school bus driver, 3 test scores, 3 on the range behind the wheel score or hours, and then 3 totals for the public road training as well. 1 for Class B, 1 for passenger, 1 for school bus. And again, a lot of the material that the FMCSA wants us to cover is not all that relevant for us in school transportation. And some of it is frankly difficult to cover because, we don't have experience with driving buses with luggage compartments and all that kind of thing. So there are things you have to improvise as best you can. We had one of the parts of on the bus training requires the trainees to demonstrate they know how to fill in a logbook, which is something that we don't generally do. I had never done one. I didn't know anything about it. So I had to learn about logbooks and how they're supposed to look. Fortunately, one of the trainers here is a former state trooper, and he had a pretty good idea about what he was looking for when he pulled over trucks. So at least he knew what a logbook should look like, and he drafted a logbook sample and a couple of scenarios so that we can get the trainee to, first we explain how the logbook should look, and then the trainee can go and complete the scenario in the logbook, and we take that piece of paper and keep it in their record. So that shows we covered logbooks, even though it's not something we've ever been involved with before. And again, we can share those scenarios and the logbook material if anyone's interested. If any of you have something better, I'm more than happy to have a look at it because, again, we're all just sort of flying by the seat of our pants here. Furthermore, we had another trainer, the trainer who took our first trainee driver. She developed the whole itinerary. We kind of talked about every day how she was going to cover the various elements of it. Some of the behind the wheel stuff is stuff we would normally do. You want to train them to drive the big vehicle. You want them to turn safely, to use the mirrors, you make sure they have space. All that stuff is perfectly, that's always part of our training. And just, doing it for the ELDT, even when you say they've done that, you might work on that for weeks more. Same with loading and unloading on railroad crossings. These are things we work on over and over again. But the things we don't work on, alley dock part, backing into an alley dock. That is not something that was ever part of our training, so we had to develop something for that. And in fact, we had to have a go at it because none of us had ever done that. As well as that, there are other parts of the program where you just have, even though it's on the bus training, it's mostly just talking. So she developed a program where she was talking about things and asking questions and getting them to answer the questions about driving at night or driving in extreme weather. We had a lot of notes. Fortunately, thanks to Al, there's a whole document that we provide in our training manual about all these various extreme conditions, and that came in handy for the ELDT portion. She also developed did with them a passenger safety briefing. That's something they have to demonstrate proficiency in. So she gets the trainee to, provide a passenger safety briefing. All these things are part of the program. They're just not necessary. I mean, we do passenger safety briefings for students, during safety drills, at the beginning of the school year, anytime you do a field trip. I used to do them anytime I was subbing. I would just tell the students what I expect. But doing it for passengers, you have to talk about what it's like to be on a bus that's not a school bus, about walking in the aisle, going to the restroom and things like that. So those are all just details you have to get through. It's not something that's fundamental to teaching someone to drive a school bus, that's for sure. So there's a lot of, we also had to develop a log to train, how are we going to track all the various elements of the on the road training. So I have a log that I created, and that, each time they cover a topic, the trainer and the trainee initial that. And that, there are whatever number, I can't remember exactly how many behind the wheel sections there are, but there are quite a few for the Class B, and I think about 15 for the passenger endorsement, another 12 for the school bus endorsement. And for each one of those points, we have the trainee initial and the trainer initial that they completed that on that day, and however long it took. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes to cover something, and sometimes you might spend 2 hours on something. It depends on, the trainee and the topic. So again, if you want to see our training log, I'm happy enough to share that with you. There's other pieces of paperwork. One of the things that you have to include is the trainee has to sign something saying that they will comply with all the regulations of parts 40, 382, 383, 390. I can't remember all the numbers, but they have to sign saying they're going to comply with that. So we've got that worked up. It's an attestation form where they sign, yes, I will do that. And that has to be signed before they, well, I think it's hard to read, but it looks like it should be signed before they begin their behind the wheel training. And other documents we have are just like a summary of the training program, where the trainee signs something saying, yes, we did all this training, and this is how long it took to complete the theory portion. This is how long it took to do the behind the wheel portion. And that's just like a summary of the whole program, including the test scores. So that's just a lot of paperwork. That's all going to be part of their files for anyone who wants to come in and look at it in the future. I can't think of anything else to talk about right now. If anybody wants to ask questions or
Let
of
me,
their own
yeah,
experiences.
John, let me talk about on the administrative side of the house. I'm going to share my screen again and share this document. So this is a snapshot of the FMCSA trainer provider website, where you log in into your own webpage, if you will. You got to have what the training that is being offered by you as a training provider. You got to have it all. If any piece is missing, you're not going to see it when you upload the information on the trainee. And so what that would mean, for example, if you didn't have the closed range piece on there, right? Well, they're not going to release that trainee to the state to allow DMV to give them a road test, because that piece is missing. Either you're going to provide it, or you're going to partner with someone else who's going to provide that training for you. And somehow or another, that piece got to mesh together when you upload the training certifications that to certify that, yes, this person got the CDL training, got the passenger training, got the school bus training, on-road, private, theory, all that good stuff. That's what we learned yesterday. If any piece is missing, it's not going to allow you. And the other thing, this is very, very critical. As soon as the training is done for any of these, be it the CDL piece, the passenger piece, the theory piece, whatever it is, you have to the midnight of the second day when training ended to upload that information. Otherwise, you're going to get kicked out, and there's no other way around it. That's it. Any questions for John on the ELDT?
Hi, I have a question. I'm Donna Boyce from TST BOCES. John, what do you think about pre-service around the time or directly after, or is there any way to kind of incorporate the pre-service? I know portions of the ELDT is part of the actual pre-service, the driver pre-service. So I was just wondering what you thought about that, if you have thought that that could be a possibility of maybe combining it before you actually complete the program.
Well, I hadn't thought about the pre-service because we generally do pre-service after the driver has done the DMV road test, just before they go on the road driving here. So you have to have the ELDT all done at least 7 days in advance of the road test. So I hadn't considered any overlap there. We have classrooms that we generally do with new trainees, and there is some overlap between what we do in the classroom and the ELDT. And for the most part, I've been merging them a bit, but I haven't been at it long enough yet to figure out how to make it even smoother or more seamless.
I have one more question. I don't know if anybody else does. Roughly, I know you said you're just in the beginning stages as we all are looking at this. How many hours do you think, I know it probably depends on the drivers as well, but how many hours total do you think the ELDT training is?
Well, if you hold on. I can tell you roughly or almost exactly how long it took the first trainee. So if you just hold on a second.
No problem. Thank you.
It looked like, all right, roughly 6 hours for the theory and 20 hours behind the wheel for the first trainee. Okay.
Could you tell, is that more, John, than, did that add time to our training, somebody? Or are they about the same?
It definitely adds training time because of the days that we spent at least, like they come in for 2-hour training sessions, and there are at least 2 sessions devoted to things that we would not generally cover. We generally practice the parallel parking for the DMV road test. That's where you want to back the bus in between the cones that they use in the DMV. But the ELDT wants them to practice parallel parking to the curb on either side of it. You have to park on the right and the left, which is not, that parking the bus to the left is something we never practiced before. Backing into the alley dock, that's something we've never done before. Discussing logbooks, other parts of it. It's added some time, probably 2 sessions, I think, total, training sessions extra. But for the most part, the training session on the bus, it's still, the trainee driver's still doing a pre-trip, and that's something they do every day at training anyway. So that, there are some sessions that are being devoted to topics we wouldn't normally cover, but it's, not that extreme. At least that's for the first training.
So you would say that it took longer though. So our first training where maybe it would have taken 27 days where, you know, it took
Oh, yeah.
another week or two
I-
longer.
probably-
Definitely is adding.
Yeah,
training
well,
time.
the extra training time for the classrooms too. It took another 2 full days of training there too. So 2 full sessions. So yeah, you're losing pretty much a week, or losing is probably the wrong phrase. We're adding a week because of the ELDT.
So if I can add again on the administrative side, it's really, really critical to relook at the ELDT program that we shared out with everyone and refine it, because you really have to break down, especially your hours for the CDLB, for the passenger, and for the school bus. And it's 3 pieces to each one of those. You got to have those hours broken down. Again, when you go in to upload that information, and if you're interested, I can share my screen again and show you our account and show you the first couple, 2, 3 people that we've uploaded the information if there's any interest in that. But that's how down in the weeds that they're getting. Initially, what I thought is because they said training, the training program, they didn't break it down and said, you got to do, you got to show us X hours for this, X hours of that. Because everything I've read about it initially, they didn't give a damn about hours. They just gave a damn about the topics. And, when we tried to upload information yesterday, that was a quick and steep learning curve for us. And John was doing the math, on the fly. So,
Can you
all right,
say-
yeah,
do
I
your
can do that right
screen?
quick. I can share my screen and show you our account. Give me a second, John.
Yep.
So I'm already logged in, and this is where you got to drop down. When you log into the TPR, you got to drop down here to submit a record. So we've already did the registration and all that. I've invited the 2 users. They are my head trainers. You click on submit a record, and this is what you're going to get. The person's information goes up here to permit or license number, state, date of birth, first, last name, the training location. Obviously, it's Shen, and then the training type. Look, when I click down on the arrow, it's got theory. It's got theory class B to A upgrade, which we don't do here. Behind the wheel public and behind the wheel range. And for each one of these, the theory, behind the wheel public, behind the wheel range, you got to click on each one of them, and then you got to do the CDL class B. This is the class endorsement that the individual's going for, passenger endorsement and school bus endorsement. And you got to tell them when you completed. And again, you got to remember, if you completed the training last week and you try to put it in today, it's going to stop you right there. It's going to tell you your dates are out of range. Sorry, and there's no other recourse for you, right? So once you get that information in there, you do it 9 times for each one of those training types. Then you submit the training record. And let me see, manage records. So these are the 3 trainees we entered information on yesterday. I'll click on this one. And as you can see, we have class B CDL. We had to enter the theory, when it was completed, what location, and what the score was on the test. Then the same thing again under class B, the public, how many hours, the range, how many hours. Then you drop down to passenger endorsement, same thing, those 3 items, right? Theory, public, and range. And then on the school bus endorsement, they asked, we did the theory in the public road and then the range. Again, hours and what the test score was for that individual.
Sorry, Al, can I just add something there?
Yeah.
On the ELDT information from the FMCSA, there's no mention of separating the public road from the private range work when it's the passenger or school bus endorsement. So when Al said I was doing math on the fly, what I was trying to do is figure out, all of a sudden I had to figure out, oh, well, what of this road, because I had lumped it all together the way they have lumped the topics together. but I then had to separate out the training, what was public road and what was on the range for the school bus and passenger endorsements. So it's better to, going forward, keep those separate in your training logs.
And don't be scared. As you see all the way here on the right, you can edit or you can delete and do it again for each person. So it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it.
Al,
Yeah.
can you, that chart you just had up there, can you open a file for a driver and kind of add each one as you go along? Or you need to do
Yeah.
it all at one time?
Yes, you can. And you can do it piecemeal, or if you set up your training to where everything is getting done on the same day, that's fine too. And yes, you can go back in, as you can see, I can go back in, I can still edit. We entered that information yesterday. If I need to change some, I need to change some. Now, this information is what is going to be shared with New York State DMV. And New York State DMV is going to look, okay, this trainee got everything, right? Not portion, not just the theory, not just the public. They got everything. Now they'll allow the road test to take place. And I keep like emphasizing that you got to have all three, the range, the public, and the theory, because any piece missing, you're not going to get anything done. It's going to frustrate you. So you got to go back in and change your profile of what you say that you can do, right? So here we provide classes, we have a closed range, and of course we go on the open road. That's what your profile's got to be set up to do.
John, would you be able to at some point share your logbook or Al?
Yep, we'll make sure that everybody who wants any of this stuff that John redid, any of the new slides, the logbook, the itinerary, if somebody's interested in the itinerary that one of our trainers put together, we can share that all with you guys. It's not a problem.
And it's all, if you have suggestions, if I share something, you say, gee, you should try it, I'm all ears, okay? If anyone's got anything else you're doing that might work better, I want to hear about it, because we all just are in the same boat.
I actually just ordered some material from a school bus. I think a school bus stop is what it's called. Their company, they have a complete presentation package and training material on ELDT. So I did send out that email to let him know. If you get a chance, if you're going to share that with John, you can see exactly like you were talking, the different sections, and they were just kind of introducing it. But I am in the process of purchasing that material. So I will definitely let you know what I think of it and incorporate it in what you guys have as well. So yeah, definitely.
Has anybody else been through a training yet? Start to finish, or even partial of it, that has experienced something or ran into trouble or has any questions or? Right, okay. Lucky us.
We just hired our first one here in Guilderland. That's going to fall into this category. So John, I'm definitely interested in fresh copies of everything so I can redo my binder for training and, you know, kind of get back up on the same page with you. I was not aware of the 9 categories that Al just explained. I had it broken down to 3 on our spreadsheet, but now we have to break it down for the endorsements. I had theory, behind the wheel, closed, and open range that I was asking them to track time. Now we got to, you know, we're gonna have to do the time, you know, broken down even more to enter it under the 9 categories.
And this, I want to add the comment, and hopefully our colleague, Peter Manella, at the national level can get that organization to go to FMCSA and say, you know, they weren't so goddamn worried about the freaking hours through this whole process. Why the hell all of a sudden they want everything broken down by hours? All they cared about was pass a written test, 80 or better, and do this training. Now they want us to break it down by hours, break it down by hours for each damn category, instead of, and what is so goddamn important, excuse my French, right? Because this pissed me off when we ran across this yesterday, because it wasn't really made public to us, the users, right? Why in God's name did they come up with this 48-hour thing, or by midnight the second day? What is so if I get done Monday, right? And I'm up here buried with work, right? And I'm a supervisor that's driving every day. And Friday is the only time I can get to enter the stuff. What is so freaking magical about midnight on the second day? I'd like that answer if you can help us out with that, Pete.
I mean,
I'm
Nicole,
new-
you just took the CDL or the refresher with me. Didn't Tracy Wheaton just say that, you know, it doesn't matter the hours at all? Nicole Dolce,
And
hours do
frankly,
not matter.
they sold that in the regulation. Because one of the things they have to do in the regulations is define what the work impact is, the costs are, how much you're gonna have to put out for this. And they really underscored the point that they're looking at the content and not how many hours you do it in. Because they originally started with 15 hours, they were talking 15 or 20 hours, and it got down to just let us do the training, we'll figure out how to do it. So that's an issue. And the thing about the 48 hours is making me itch here too. So I will bring both those back up where I can see what I can find out. Both those pieces were a surprise.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help.
Just to make life easier, I don't know how everybody else keeps track of hours, but we were generally in the habit of keeping track, like quarter hour, half hour, 3/4 of an hour. I would say keep track of minutes, because some topics you'll do in 10 minutes and some topics you'll do in 35 minutes. Just add up all the minutes and divide by 60 at the end to get your hours. Don't keep track of hours the way I was. Just keep track of minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. After we met with Nicole and I mean, Tracy Wheaton from the DMV bus driver unit was at the refresher, what, 3 weeks ago? We completed that, Nicole, and they just informed all of us that, you know, hours and the length of training was not, there was no mandated state amount of hours. So this is, Al, thanks for-
Now you've seen it on their website, what they're asking for.
Yeah, as you were talking, I'm sending an email to all my trainers right now, letting them know to, you know, effective immediately, track this, to everything you're doing right now, track the minutes, and I'll be calling a meeting with them, so.
And think about it, that's a lot of freaking administrative work. It really is. It's just crazy, all these things. Don't get me going on government. Let me get off this.
Al, thank you for all the work you've done on this, for all of us in this chapter. Shenandoah Hoa, we all owe you guys a huge thank you for blazing this trail and helping us all to, you know, get ourselves regulated with this new regulation. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you. John and Al and the rest of their training team did a ton of work on this, and we all are greatly appreciated, but that's kind of what we're here for, to share and learn and from each other. So again, anybody just reach out to the chapter or me. I will make sure that you get in touch with Al or John about the NAPD, about the ELDT, whatever information you need. If you need all of it, we'll get you all of it. It's not a problem. So now we have, if there's nothing else on the ELDT, we'll kick it over to Dan Boyer, who's here from the Head Mechanics. He just wants to introduce himself and talk a little bit about his organization. It is a great organization, especially if you've got mechanics in your organization that would like to get ahead or advance. They do give out some scholarships and awards themselves. So go ahead, Dan. I'll mute myself.
Okay. The reason that I wanted to speak to you guys about the Head Mechanics today is because I was involved in an email from the New York State chapter, and it was a local, somebody that was in our chapter, a transportation supervisor, was looking for training for their people, for their mechanics. And they, of course, referred them to me. And it just kind of occurred to me that maybe we need to be focusing on more than just the head mechanics in the garages. There are lots of transportation supervisors and fleet supervisors that would like training for their mechanics. Now, we have quite a bit of training going on now. I did send everybody a page the other day. I sent it out, and that kind of goes over our training for this year, that it was for this school year. it will be updated with the new stuff for this upcoming year. We generally have about 10 months worth of training, so that's once a month. And, you know, as the industry is changing, the DPF systems, I mean, you can get into an exhaust, a DPF might cost upwards of $2,000. So being able to work on this kind of stuff is really valuable. Electric school buses are coming into play. And, you know, we have classes on the electric school buses. Wingman, we had one on Wingman, and just the technology that's coming out is just another way that you guys can keep your mechanics sharp with this stuff. Not only that, but it is a like almost a forum where, like when the hand sanitizers were to be put in the buses, we were right involved with that. And a lot of the districts were looking to us for advice and guidance, but we're all a group together as the Head Mechanics Association. So it allows us all to bounce ideas off of each other. We had small buses, Minotaurs, and the transmissions were slipping. And that was just another thing that we all got together and brainstorm and see who's had these problems. And it turns out that a lot of people have had these problems, and they're all dealing with it on their own when there's a simple solution to it. But as we all got together, we learned about that. So it's just another way that all of us can stay together. Not only do we provide the training, but yesterday during our meeting, a gentleman by the name of James Lorette from North Colony Central School District was the winner of an ASE Master School Bus certification. So this is something that we offer. It's in that newsletter that I sent out. And it not only are they going to get and we're going to pay for it, they're going to become a Master ASE certified school bus technician. They're going to take the classes and pass the test. We're going to pay to maintain that as well. We're going to do 2 people per year. So at our Christmas party each year, we're going to announce the 2 winners. So it won't be uncommon 5 years from now, 10 years from now, to have a ton of ASE, Master School Bus Certified Technicians in the field at all the different districts around. So it's important that everybody knows that we're here, that, you know, we are all working together. So if any of you guys are interested in any training, becoming members, a lot of you already are members, you know, feel free to reach out, send me an email. I'll walk you through the process of becoming a member. And you know, right now, most of our meetings are virtual, so it's little time out of the shop. I know most people are driving. We have people driving in the day, in the morning, and in the evening. I know a lot of other districts are in the same boat, but we just want to reach out and let everybody know what we're offering. Well, we also offer a scholarship program for tuition assistance for our members. So they write a letter and fill it out, that the kids do, and we select 2 people. So we give those out, that's 2 a year. So along with that, it's just, it's training. And I want to make sure that as things are changing, as the industry is changing, that we as an association are approaching the right people. So we're not, previously we've just been sort of approaching the garages and the head mechanics. But as the positions have changed, we've got new fleet supervisors, we've got new directors, new assistant directors. And a lot of those people are in charge of the garages as well. So we want to make sure that everybody is aware of us. And that's why I sent out the newsletter that I sent out last night. And if anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. That's sort of all I have for right now. But I just wanted to take a moment this morning and go over this with everyone. Does anybody have any questions for me at this point?
Yeah, Dan, I just want to say kudos to you, to your leadership for, especially on that ASC piece, and kudos to the association for really, working hard and recognizing the value of our mechanics. Getting them certified ASC and then paying for them, that's huge. And that's really money well spent. So kudos to you and your association. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Concerns or anything?
Dan, you do a lot of videos. Do you have videos for your chapter that you have a YouTube channel so mechanics could potentially jump on and
On that newsletter that I sent out does have a couple of videos. There is a YouTube channel for the Capital District Head Mechanics Association. And on there, we do post all of our videos. So like our February meeting, actually that one didn't get recorded, but our January meeting, we'll use that one as an example. That was DPF and after treatment systems. And it was a really informative presentation. And that is on our channel. So not only do you get, if you were involved in it, that's great. But if you had to drive, if you couldn't make the meeting, you can go onto that Capital District Head Mechanics Association. You just type it into YouTube. Right now it's public, so everybody can see it. And those presentations are all there. So even if you were at the meeting and you're like, what did they say about temperatures through the DPF, the different sensors, you can go back, because a lot of times there's a lot of information. And it's nice to have that video as a reference. So, and even if we do, when we do in-person videos or in-person meetings, we're still going to have a camera rolling and we're going to post those videos to our site as well. So that being said, does anybody have any other questions or anything? Other than that, please, if you want to do a little research, go to the YouTube channel. It's just Capital District Head Mechanics Association, and you can view some of the videos and see if it's something that you want your mechanics to be involved in.
Thank you.
Actually, on the sheet that I sent out, the dues are $50 per district per year. So it's really a good, see, we're not here to make money. We're here to provide training. And so the $50 gets you your whole garage. So whether you have 2 mechanics or 10 mechanics, it's $50 per district. And if you're a vendor and you want to be a vendor, it's $50 per vendor. So we keep it really simple.
Thank you, Dan. And again, and if anybody has any questions about the Head Mechanics Association, or you're interested in any of the information Dan shared with you, shoot me an email and I can get you his email address and contact info if you don't already had it. So now I'd like to start with Judy Kahn. We did hold the poster contest this year, and she's got a little presentation of all of the winners. I'm happy to say that Waterville Elite entered this year. They're new members. So congratulations, Waterville Elite, on becoming new chapter members, as well as getting involved, because their kiddos really kind of swept it. It looks like, Judy, right? So I think she might need sharing rights flooding if she doesn't already have some. All right, it looks like you're ready to go, Judy.
She's got them.
Judy. Bueller. Bueller. Maybe start with the next one.
Yeah, we'll move to Karim and Pete Tunney on a legislative update on what's going on in the state legislative wise. That in the meantime, I'll try and reach Judy to see if we can get her up and running here.
Oh, good morning. Not much going on. There hasn't been a legislative meeting in a little bit, but just pretty much from the news and notes, the state association still is moving forward with the advocating for the third-party testing. And pretty much, you know, as from the meeting that the DMV held statewide with stakeholders getting input, it is moving forward with the project, but there really hasn't been any new information regarding that particular effort. Let's see.
Belinda, oh, sorry, I don't mean to chime in. Belinda, I also want to put out, we have the state, we have our board meeting this weekend. And we have all committee chair meetings on Friday. So there, everything we're going to talk, like the committee for legislative will meet this week.
Okay. And I believe there's still some information out there. We're still working at the state level with the electric buses, advocating for in reference to the proposal that Governor Hochul has put out. There are some industry-wide concerns with 100% electrification, and NIAP is inserting themselves in those discussions to make sure that the industry concerns are presented in those discussions, in those budget discussions with that proposal.
I think our concerns are obviously cost and infrastructure availability.
Yeah, but we probably unfortunately need the drivers.
So with that, that will conclude my report on the legislative efforts.
Pete, can I ask you a quick question? Are we still planning a multi-district meeting on the stop arm camera?
Yes, I'll get a hold of Bus Patrol and find out where we stand with that.
Okay,
I'll get a hold of them.
thank you.
Okay, is Judy back on with us? Because we're having trouble logging into her presentation, so we're gonna need her to log in. Okay, we'll move on. We will move on. We'll do, so we'll talk about awards. Al Karam, our awards committee chairperson. Again, this year, we're giving out a 19A sponsorship. We're giving out an SBDI sponsorship. We're giving out our Employee of the Year award, which will get somebody a state membership for the state level, as well as going to the summer conference. So I know you all have people in your organization who are deserving of these awards. So get your nominations into Al Karam. Al, do you have an end date you'd like them in by?
April the 5th, or forever hold your breath.
So April the 5th, get your nominations in to Al Karam on those awards. Jerry, Operation Safe Stop, we have coming up, and we have Nicole here too. So we're kind of lucky. We get a double one that we can talk about. So Operation Safe Stop will be April 28th. We are going to be back in person that day at the firehouse. So we're very excited.
Woo!
Yes, we're going to do our usual. I have my letters out to all of our legislative friends, our law enforcement, our media. So hopefully I'll be getting responses back. But I believe we're also going to be joined by the state this year too. So Nicole, if you want to talk a little bit about that, I believe we've got Dave Christopher coming. I'm not sure if Ted's coming. And who else from the state might be actually joining us, but I believe we were going to kind of join forces there. Jerry, Nicole?
Well, I will tell you, it depends on the governor's response. The state we have sent, at the state level, Dave sent a request to the governor to invite her to Operation Safe Stop. So we're hoping we can combine our efforts with the Capital District and with the state and do one. But that's contingent upon the governor. If the governor is willing to meet with us and have publicity, there has also been talk about us lining up buses from different regions down in front of the state education building to make it more local and for the governor to be able to come out and get some publicity there. I know it seems like we'd be competing against each other, so I'm really hoping we can combine efforts and do it in one place. It really just depends on if the governor is going to participate with us or not. And according to Dave, the governor has been invited several years and has not been able to attend. So it's really going to depend on her schedule. Nicole, did I miss anything on that?
No, I don't think so. The idea was, she just, obviously Governor Hochul is new and she says school bus an awful lot. So we thought we'd invite her and see what happens. So hopefully she
Why do we
can
need Hochul when we got Pete Tunney?
So, but I don't think we'll be competing. We did talk about if the governor does come, we can still hold ours at 10, invite all of our folks down, and then maybe at 1, the state level will do their press conference at 1 o'clock. And, so this way our members who choose to go to both can go to both. And we could also have our state, Dave and Nicole and anybody else from the state come join us as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be a really good turnout. Hopefully she'll come. I invite the governor every year, and every year, although they're honored to hear from me, Nicole, they always turn me down. So hopefully this year, maybe we'll get some luck and they will come. So let's try Judy one more time. Do we have Judy with us yet? Hopefully, because I really want to see these pictures that these kiddos made.
Hey, Belinda. Sorry, I
Oh,
had
there
someone
she
in my,
is. Yay. Hi, Judy.
sorry, had someone in my office earlier.
We've all been trying to access your PowerPoint and it will not grant us access. So Claudine has given you screen sharing rights. So hopefully you're able to get in to show us what these kids have come up with.
Okay. Is that showing for everyone? Good. Okay. All right. So for the 2022 poster contest, the theme was "One bus plus one driver equals a big impact on education." So for third place, we had Trinity Halpin from Watervliet City School District. For Division 1, second place, we had Nicholas De Los Santos at Watervliet as well. Then first place in that division was Tamana Amani from Watervliet. Division 2, so Division 1 is kindergarten through 2nd grade. Division 2 would be 3rd through 5th grade. We had Anis Mulahem from Watervliet. Division 2, 2nd place was Jada Charrington from Watervliet. And then first place was Madalena De Lorenzo from South Colony. Third place in Division 3, which is 6th through 8th grade, is Ashlyn Faber from South Colony. Second place was Jake Lee, South Colony. And then Dan Milo from South Colony for first place. Fourth place is special needs K through 12. So third place was Angel Quick at Watervliet. Second place was Henry Rise at South Colony. And then first place was Chloe Young from South Colony. And I wanted to mention also for this one that this poster placed first at the statewide conference. So this poster is actually going to move on to the national conference poster contest, which I think is pretty awesome. So congratulations to all of our winners. And I believe the gift certificates have been mailed out to all of them. So thank you.
Yep, so we give them nice certificates, as well as the first place winners get a $75 Visa gift card, second place 50, and third $25, all Visa gift cards. So they got some money in their pocket, which will be nice. They can go and spend it however they'd like. Thank you so much, Judy, for putting that together. And that is really exciting. Congratulations, Pete and South Colony. You guys did an awesome job over there. And hopefully you'll all win at the national level too. So on the state level. So now we'll talk about negotiations, sorry. Elections, which are coming up, which will be at our May meeting. And Pete, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, we will have nominations for all of our offices. Our president is open and we're looking for candidates for all of these positions. Secretary, treasurer, and vice president. So if you're interested, please let me know so we can get your name into the nomination process. Let me know before the May meeting. So just shoot me an email and hopefully we will have some great candidates as we have done in the past. I know Belinda has indicated that she will not be seeking another term, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Belinda, for the excellent job you've done over the past few years. You've really helped lead this organization and our chapter, and you've done us proud. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And I definitely could not have done it, especially during pandemic with Jerry and everybody else who has helped me answer emails, Al and even Peter Manella, Pete, you guys. I was always reaching out to you, asking you all kinds of stuff, all kinds of questions. You were always there to answer them for me. So I definitely did not do that by myself. So
well, you're leaving some big shoes to fill.
It has been great, but yes, it is time for me to step aside.
Well, we thank you very much.
My pleasure. So make sure you guys get your nominations into Pete ASAP, because we will be holding that at our May meeting. And if anybody else has anything else to add or talk about, now would be the time. Oh, okay, well then I will say thank you so much, Al and John, and everybody else at Shen, putting together the ELDT, the NAPD. And again, if you guys want any of that information, please reach out and I will make sure I either get you that information or the contact information. Thank you to Mark and Nicole for taking the time to be here with us and joining us through a whole meeting. Good luck. Again, they are running for executive office on the state level. So good luck to them.
Thank you.
And I think that comes up, the elections will be at the summer conference, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mark?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I just wanted to take this moment to just thank the Capitol chapter for having us over here. I've been taking notes the whole time, and I love learning from everybody. So definitely appreciate the time and all the information. So thank you.
Anytime, and that includes you folks down there. So if you guys want any of the information that we shared or came up with, please reach out to me. We're happy to get that to you and your team as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Mark
Dana.
and Nicole, will you be in town tomorrow for the committee meetings?
I'm going to be on the Zoom.
Okay.
Zooming.
You're zooming? Okay, so then I'm gonna cancel going to the Marriott and I'll just be on the Zoom then.
Thanks, Dan. And again, if you want any information on the Head Mechanics Association, reach out and I'll get you Dan's information and he can definitely fill you in. Again, they've had some great scholarships and opportunities for up and coming leaders in that field as well. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks
Thank
again
you,
for the
everyone.
extra time today too.
Thank you.
Thank you.